A lot of you might have a question, what is BioT and why is it called BioT in the first place? Well, let's start with the very first part of it. Bio is short for. It's short for biology. And so the reason that we want to cover the biology that goes into the BioT is because that is what makes everything active. Nature automatically makes their own BioT every single day. They do this by the leaves falling, by grass clippings going into the ground. All the different vegetation that you see around you goes into the soil. As it goes into the soil, there's different microbes, which are like bacterias and fungi, which isn't a scary thing. It's a very good thing for the soil. There's also insects, there's animals, and as those things start to feed on all of this natural leaves and grass and twigs and things of that nature, as they feed on those things, they start to break them down. Once they break those down, all the nutrients and things that are trapped inside of that organic matter becomes released. And once it's released, then the microbes start to get to feed on all of that stuff. Once they get to feed on those items, then even more nutrients and vitamins are released. Once those are released, then they're available to be taken up by the root systems of different trees and all sorts of different plants, including lawns. That's why we go ahead and we make our own BioT. We make our own BioT because we want to mimic what nature's doing, because nature has it right. They have for billions of years, and that's why trees and other plants and also animals and insects have been able to live for billions of years even before humans were around. So the way that we try to mimic that situation that nature is doing on their own is by trying to make our own BioT. So there's the biology part of it. Why is it called a tea? Well, the reason it's called a tea is kind of think about the tea that your parents might drink. So what do? They take the leaves of the tea plant, they put them into a cup or into a bag or something of the sort. They take hot water, they pour it on that, and they let it steep. When it's steeping, it's taking out all those nutrients and different vitamins and antioxidants and all the fun stuff and even the flavor that they enjoy while they're drinking it. So as that's being extracted and while they're brewing the tea, that is why we call it a tea as well, because what we do is we take organic matter, so the leaves, the twigs, the grass clippings, all that sort of stuff, we take that stuff and we make our own tea bag. Once we make that tea bag, we drop it into a big giant pool of water, and that's what we have right down here. We add the water in there along with the tea bag, and I'll pull our tea bag up here. As you can see, it looks pretty disgusting, which is pretty cool, and it smells absolutely terrible, but I'll get to that here in just a second, why it smells so bad. But so we go ahead and we put in a whole bunch of water. In this tank alone, we can put 900 gallons of water, which that sounds like a lot and that it should last a long time. It really doesn't. And that's 900 gallons of water for such a small bag of bioproduct. But the key is that we also add some organisms, and then we also activate those organisms. We activate them by giving them additional food sources. The way we do it is we use sugar. Once those organisms, so the bacteria and fungi that are living within this, all those living organisms, just like yeast for bread, once we add that sugar, they kickstart and they start pooping and farting and burping all over the place. And when they're doing that, they're releasing a ton of nutrition. And that nutrition gets trapped into this water slurry. And once that water slurry has all of that stuff in there, then it's ready to be used. So we activate it because we go ahead and we add things, where nature, they add things, but it goes a little bit slower. But it actually goes a little bit faster because there's so much already in the soil. But we have to activate it because we can't go and just collect little tiny microscopic microbes and things of that nature and just dump them in here. We want to make our own. So after we add all the ingredients, so the tea bag, we add a little sugar, we add some water, the last factor is going to be the aeration. So if you look down here at the bubbles, it'd be like you blowing bubbles into your drink and things of that nature. Well, that's adding air, and that's essential. That's why fish are able to live in ponds. That's why microbes are able to survive, because there are microbes that can live in what's called anaerobic situations, which is void of air. But we want to create an aerobic situation because we want very active microbes and things of that nature. So once we add that air, it's keeping things moving around. It doesn't allow it to go stale. It allows the microbes that are forming in this pond to be able to multiply and grow and flourish and create a slurry and make that sweet smell that we have over here. And so then we're able to move on to where we can then use the product. And why do we want to use this product? So we do a lot of lawn applications, so where we're trying to control for weeds and we want to make the grass look really, really nice and green and fluffy so that you can run around it on it barefoot playing soccer, playing tag, all that sort of fun stuff. And so the reason that we want to be able to use this stuff is because we need to take care of basically the belly that is for your lawn. And the belly for your lawn is the soil. So it's the line that is below the turf. And that's where your lawn is going to be feeding itself to turn green and to be healthy and thick. Well, in that lawn and in that soil, a lot of times, especially in developments and neighborhoods that haven't been around for a long time, they are missing a lot of this microbiology that used to be there because it was taken off during construction or it was compacted and it's a different type of soil. So we're trying to replenish that by adding this BioTE. The additional part that is really nice about it is it allows us to not use as many chemicals to get the same results. And when we don't have to use as many chemicals, that means that a lot of the microbiology that's under the soil is able to flourish, but more importantly, a lot of the microbiology that is outside of that soil and above ground is able to flourish because they're not getting harmed by chemicals and things of that nature. So that's why we like using our BioTE, and that's why it's important to try to use as many organic products as we can because nature's already used to using them. So we've covered the BioTE tank. We cover why we go ahead and make it. We cover how we make it, the products that we use, the things that we add to it, how we activate this tea so that we're able to produce it on a regular basis. Also, then we're not robbing resources that should just stay out in nature as opposed to using ones that we have available to us. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go over and we're going to see all the products that we have available to us because, we're already trimming shrubs, we're already cutting grass, we're already cleaning up leaves, and we want to be able to use those to the fullest potential. Let's go check out our big pile of lawn and landscape debris, and I'll talk to you about how we reuse that. So we covered the BioTE tank, and now we want to cover what was going into that tea bag that I was talking about. So if you look around me, this is all debris that we generate when we're cleaning up a landscape. You can kind of think about it like a forest floor. So the forest floor is going to have leaves and twigs and branches and all that stuff falling onto it all year long. So it's allowed to build up a whole lot of biomass for all the things that are in the soil and on the soil floor to break down, get into the soil, making its BioTE through rain and things like that, pushing it down in. Once it's down in the soil, it breaks down further and releases nutrients, vitamins, and things of that nature. Those are then taken up by trees and other plants for the use of that tree and other plants through their root systems all the way up to their canopies. So if you look at all this debris that we generate when we're out cleaning up people's landscapes and all that sort of fun stuff, sometimes doing community projects, if you look at this as like it's a forest floor, that's why we have all this debris. Fortunately, we have the opportunity to also take a little time and do a step-by-step process to get it down into smaller chunks and break it down so that when we add it to that tea bag, one, we can't just shove a whole shrub into a tea bag, and two, that's not going to provide enough of the biomass for the microorganisms to break down and make available nutrients for the lawn and the trees and shrubs that we feed this to. So what we do is we take a step-by-step process, but in that process we are activating more microorganisms that are in these piles, that are on the shrubs, that are on the plants already, and we are incorporating them so that they start to break down on their own. We are going ahead and speeding up even this process so that we can have it available for use throughout the year. The nice thing is that then none of this stuff, none of the debris that we are producing is going to a landfill. So that would just be taking up space when really we can go ahead, we can use this product so that we can go ahead and use it in lawns and landscapes and even get to use it in our wood woods and things of that nature, so that we get to keep it going as opposed to just throwing it away like it's waste. So if you look, as you're over closer to you, you can see it's a lot bigger pieces. It's different types. We have pine straw, we have needled shrubs, we have old mulch, we have grasses, we have all sorts of things, green and browns alike, because that's what we want. We want everything to come off of the greens and the browns. There's no real lawn clippings or anything of that nature, because we don't want to bag our lawn clippings. We want to leave our lawn clippings on the lawn so that they can go ahead and just start replenishing the soil as they stay right there. But since we don't have any lawn clippings, no big deal. We still have plenty of green things that are starting to break down, which are going to activate. So as we work our way over, we get to where the piles start to break down on their own, and they get a little smaller and a little smaller each single time until we get to the final pile, and that's where I'll show you what we actually add to the tea bag. And what we add to the tea bag is going to look like the nicest looking soil you've ever seen. And the reason we want it like that is because then those little particles can get broken down a lot quicker. The nutrients are densely packed into this soil, and then we get to use it in the BioTea. I've already turned a little bit of this. This is our final product. And this is what we're going to be adding to our BioTea tank, into the tea bag. As well, you could even use this stuff in your garden soil and things like that. The reason that it's okay to use this in the garden soil, now you want to be mindful if it sits for a long time and you don't turn it, you can end up with a lot of weed seeds that are still alive in there and things like that. We don't have to worry about that because we really just use it for our BioTea tank, and then once we're done with it, then we use it in our into our garden soils. But you could use this as just your compost. So if you have a composting bin out and back and things of that nature, this is what you're going for. And what's really nice about this is it's nice and loose so that the roots can find their way. It's easy to grow in and things of that nature. So this is our final product. This is what we add to that BioTea bag. And when we add it to the BioTea bag, that's just going to steep in there like we had already talked about. And we went ahead and we've started a process that nature does all on its own, but we are able to go ahead and whittle it down to where we can go ahead and make that just a little bit faster, still using the same process that they do, but we just activate it, and we don't use any extra kind of chemicals or anything to do that. We just use extra food sources, and then we use a little bit of science and a little mechanical ingenuity, and that allows us to activate those things. So if you have a compost bin at home, if you have food scraps and leaf clippings and things of that nature, you could go ahead and make your own compost tea, which is the BioTea. Compost tea and BioTea are the exact same things, they're just phrased differently. So the thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and collect that, make your own compost bin. Once you make your compost bin, make sure that you're turning it, keep it in the sun, keep it a little bit moist. Go ahead and turn it. You'll see it. It'll start to smell funky. It'll start to break down. It'll look slimy. It'll look nasty. But as you turn it, add a little bit of like dry leaf matter so that it doesn't get all slimy and things of that nature. But in a couple weeks' time, if you do that, it'll start to turn into that product right there. And if you do it right, where you have holes that are perforated at the bottom, once you start to see it, it'll drain. And that liquid, that's just BioTea. So today we learned all about BioTea, why we use it, why we make it, how we do all of those processes. So I want you to get out there, I want you to think about it, I want you to explore your world around you, and then maybe go and create your own BioTea, and then you can add it to the soil of your plants. Don't spray it on to anything that you're going to eat, because you don't want to end up having any sort of reaction. But you can add it to the soil so that the root systems of all your plants are able to spread and grow and flourish, take up nutrients, and grow like crazy. So I hope you had fun today. We'll see you next time.